Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's stream. Today, we are going to be going over a number of templates that we've created at Observable that make it super quick to get started with popular APIs in the Observable notebooks. Templates, for those of you who aren't aware, they are prepackaged, expressive, and interactive charts, dashboards, and other starting points so that you don't need to start from scratch. So this means that you can use Observable templates without the expertise in data viz techniques or JavaScript. We've been creating these templates for the purpose of helping folks to get their data-related work done more efficiently. The templates we'll be going over today provide a blueprint for connecting to a wide variety of third-party apps, such as GitHub, Stripe, Google Sheets. Integration templates help users work with the data from external sources in order to quickly explore and communicate insights. So that's what we'll be going over today. I have one really quick announcement I want to plug before we get into it, which is that the Observable user survey is going to be closing today. And so we're asking our community members for feedback on how you use Observable, and more importantly, how we can make Observable better to meet your needs. So fill that out if you haven't yet. It closes today at 3 p.m. Pacific. And I will also toss this into the chat. So I think with that, we're ready to get started. Ian, Toph?
What's up? I've been on a Budweiser 1999 Super Bowl ad kick. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining. My name is Toph, and I am a data visualization engineer here at Observable. And Ian, who are you?
I'm Ian, and I'm a data visualization developer.
Oh yeah, that's the term.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and I guess we can. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm really excited for today. I'm really excited that Toph and Molly are here too. Like, this set of templates that we built is, I don't know, something pretty unique, and the kind of thing I've wanted for a long time as a former engineer turned more like prototyper developer. Anyway, we'll get into that. Sorry, Molly, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just going to follow the trend of introducing myself, that I'm a developer relations manager at Observable. And yeah, today will be fun.
Very good. So in an Observable notebook, you can make requests to any API or anything on the internet. And that's been possible for a long time, but the resources for guiding you how to do that were sort of scattered across. I mean, there's a huge amount of amazing community work, which covers far more APIs than are listed here. But the recent initiative has kind of started to try to make a more consistent, consolidated entry point for people who are less familiar with the platform. And these are the ones we've started with. We have a bunch more we want to do. It's hard to stop once you get going. And the first one I wanted to show is Stripe. So Stripe is a large, successful startup that helps you make payment systems, build payment systems into your app, all sorts of payment stuff. We use it for our site. We use it if you sign up for a team account. That's being processed by Stripe. And we have it's just like a bare minimum. It's not comprehensive. It is just scratching the surface of what you can do with Stripe. But we have this little starter template, which just tells you what you need to do. Get your Stripe API key, save it in a secret. I'll come back to that. And then you can get data for your recent transactions in this kind of JavaScript inspector form. And then once you have it like that, it's easy to put it into Observable plot to make a bar chart of what's going on. And that's it. That's all that's going on here. Now, I'm currently looking at the public template, not my version of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is fork to get started, as instructed by the prominent green banner. And as soon as I do that, I've done a little pre-stream prep work, and I've actually already saved my Stripe secret. So you see this chart is immediately different. Secrets are a way of securely saving sort of anything secret in your observable account or team. So in this case, you need an API key to authenticate with Stripe, and I've already in our little demo team secrets, we already have a few of these set. I'm not going to show you the secrets, but they are easy to add. And we have links in all these templates to where you can find your API key for each service. Is this making sense so far? What do you think?
Show me the money.
Okay.
Is that what that chart is? Is that money?
So this is actual real money now. Notice that in this data cell, there's a little switch where it switches between this demo data and the real data, depending on if you have your API key set. So I'm just going to simplify that now that we are actually authenticated. So these are real transactions coming in and out of my very own Stripe account, and we can see that the way Stripe works is money comes in, and then after some amount of time, it gets paid out to my bank account. This is a whole, looks like just over $1.20. So big bucks coming into Toph's coffers here. And these bars are grouped by week, but if we wanted to, it's easy to, if we want to switch the binning, we could do daily binning, or we could do, monthly binning. Do it on daily for the moment. I don't know. I'll keep it on week. So I actually have a a Stripe payment link I can show you here. So this Stripe makes it very easy to set up a sort of web store. Here's my $1 product. Is Ian's kid Max. Is Max there? Max is somewhere. No pressure to Max but we have if anyone wants to donate $1 to Max's college fund, how do we Molly, could we get this link in the in the stream?
Yeah, pass it to me.
So I'm gonna I will personally, I have it on my phone, so I have Apple Pay. If you go to it on your phone, you have Apple Pay, which makes it very easy to click. So I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to on screen type in my credit card information. That would be a good trick. So now I'm going to come back to, so now I'm going to pay, and let me show you when it goes through. And then I get this Stripe notification, thanks for your payment, as well as an Apple Pay notification. Now, if we refresh, I don't know exactly how fast this is, but there it is. There it is. Now this bar is higher.
$2. Look at that.
That's a Stripe transaction fee. Stripe is really skimming here. And if I do a more granular, let's see, do a more granular aggregation, you can see I did a couple test ones yesterday, and this morning we just have one.
I just sent $1 too. You see if it...
So I feel like this is annoying having to keep refreshing this, right?
Uh-huh.
What do you think we should do about that?
Rerun the cell? Or you're gonna do you're gonna do something fancy.
I feel like we could do a generator here and you have to be careful not to hammer the API with too many requests. But if I do that look right? Yeah. Okay. So now you can see that bar is there. Now I'm going to do another one, and now without refreshing, we should see it come up pretty fast. I'm just reloading the page on my, here I am back on the Apple Pay thing. I do Apple Pay, it scans
I really appreciate
my
this,
face, weirdly enough.
Tuition's gonna be really expensive in like 15 years, so.
We have to adjust for
A big
inflation.
difference.
Oh, nice, there it went.
Wow, that was pretty fast.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
So that's Stripe. I mean, this is really the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with this. Stripe has a extremely good API docs. Oh, that's not the Stripe API docs. Oh, and actually, I forgot I have a link to it right here. I feel like the API docs are worth looking at even if you're not using it, just because there's such a model of how to do API docs. So there's a lot of stuff you can get more information about customers or specific charges or whatever. And I mean, you can even like set up payments through API, but that's the next level. So that's Stripe.
Yeah, so with this integration, the biggest hurdle that we're helping with, right, is like the connection piece.
Yep. Yeah, we're not, like these templates are not opinionated about what you're going to do with it. They're not a fully worked end-to-end solution. They're not, they're not, I don't know. We've shown some other templates on the stream before that are like, upload data in this format, and then you get like a full dashboard or something based on that. And these are sort of different. These are more like, just a bare bones starting point. But I feel like often when I'm getting started with a new API, this is sort of all I want. I'm like, show me how to authenticate, and then just like, what route do I call to start seeing some data? I feel like in my experience, as soon as I can see some real example of a real response, it's a lot easier to like get traction and build out from there.
Absolutely. And for me, this is really exciting too, because like in my past jobs as an engineer, anytime we did want to integrate with some other API, either we're using internally or with our product, like the amount of steps you had to take just to try it was always a lot, right? So like if you just had some idea where it's like, oh, if we could just get this data from Stripe, we could like plot that against something else.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to start a new project, figure out, like your whole build system, whatever, like, and what's great with this is you just click the button, you fork it, and then you start typing JavaScript, and you get to see the JSON you get back like right away.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just like helps with those, especially like new ideas or people being curious. Should we even like, invest in building out some tool based on the API? Like, it makes it so much easier.
Well, so what's the next API we're going to look at? What's the next integration?
So I think the next is another thing we use ourselves at Observable. And here I'm going to go to it by just click the new button. And this recently launched. You can now fork from a template right from the new button. I'm going to scroll down to the integrations. And this time I'm going to pick Figma. So we use Figma. But I have the key set in the team, not the personal account. So I'm going to switch it over to the team. And now I see secret found. So I've already set the Figma token ahead of the stream, but we have instructions here on where you can get it. Figma is a very popular, how would you describe Figma?
Design
it's an
tool.
Inspiration to us all. It's a
collaborative, like.
Yeah, collaborative design tool.
Sort of like Google Docs for Adobe Illustrator.
like
you can
that.
see people's cursors. That's the best thing. Everyone loves seeing each other's cursors. So we have here an example, which is just the demo example of we have these like, here, let's look more closely at this. So this is just like sticky notes on a matrix, on a New York Times approval matrix of highbrow to lowbrow, brilliant to despicable. And I've posted some sticky notes here. And this is inspired by some exercises Molly was doing with us, where we were thinking about all the templates we could possibly do, and we wanted to rate them by how hard it would be to make versus how valuable it would be to the community. And so we were doing a lot of Figma like sticky note exercises. In this example, so we just paste the URL of the Figma document, and then once again we have some sample data for if we haven't authenticated. So now that we have authenticated, I can just simplify that cell. And then this example just shows fetching image assets for different parts of the Figma document. A very common thing you might want to do with Figma is get your design out of there to like a PNG to drop into a slide deck or an email or a Slack message or whatever. Or, we use it to design a lot of icons, and then we want to get the SVG from the icon to put into a React component that we include on the site. So this like exporting assets thing is a common use case. And we can choose scale. You can't really, these are, there you can sort of see it's blurrier, I think. No, because this is SVG, so it won't even be. But if I switch it, yeah, so if I switch it to PNG, which is raster, now you see if the scale is low like this, they're all like tiny, tiny files. If I want to include it in something else, I want like, a little higher resolution. So this is just enumerating everything. This is like, again, it's like not a great interface it's not a fully fleshed out like application for use with Figma. It's just a little demonstration of how to get like every object through the API and image assets for them. And we do that by kind of flattening this document structure. You see everything has, it's like there's a canvas with children and frame and whatever. So one thing I wanted to do here is like when we were doing the importance versus difficulty matrix with Molly, we ended up having to like manually port it over to these other documents where we ranked things. So I wanna just get these sticky notes into like a plot. And the way I'm gonna...
Wait, so you're saying that you can turn like the sticky notes people just point and clicked into data?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So each of these...
I'm excited for this.
Yeah. I feel like we're not going to quite get to the point. This will stop short in the demo, but we actually got to use this because we do a lot of these exercises, and I want to just get them into like a table in a notebook for our project documentation. So each let's see. Oh, I have the easiest thing to work with will be I have this flat array of objects, and I'm going to say let's get just the ones that are text. Okay, so we have 12 text items, so it's just the label on the sticky note, not the sticky note itself. And each of these has absolute, I think it's called absolute bounding box. No, what's it called? Yeah, it is. So if Now, each of these has a bounding box that shows you where it is on the canvas. And in the canvas, the axes are at 0 and 0. So we can see how highbrow or lowbrow it is from this X and Y.
Cool.
I'm going to do and do just the text ones, and then get the bounding box dot X, and Y is the, so this will maybe already, okay. So now we have a scatter plot in data, in plot of our different sticky notes, and now maybe I wanna add some rules so that you can see where the axes are. One problem with this is that we can't tell what any of these are. So we could switch this to text, and let's see, what's the name of the characters? So the whoa. So now we've taken this like whiteboarding exercise from Figma and quickly gotten it in a more like machine readable format. And I mean, we could rank it by the if we want some combination of like lowbrow and brilliant, we can rank it by what would we want to do? Absolute bounding box plus a dot absolute. Good. The sum of the coordinates and some of the coordinates for the other, and then we have this like and if all we want is columns, characters. Now we have this ranked list. So I did it sort of backwards, but the one in the bottom leftmost corner is the top ranked item. And then we can like include that in a project planning document or something if all of these were like project ideas and if the axes were sensible for the project.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Cool. Thanks for the demonstration.
And there's a lot more you can do. There's, I did this like nested inspector the other day. I won't get into any of the other stuff, but it's like very addicting once you get started. So that's it for Figma.
Cool. Yeah. I was just going to ask if there's any last things you wanted to say about it before we pushed on to the GitHub starter.
That is it.
Cool.
Ian, do you want to lead on some?
I could certainly, yeah, I always love getting into GitHub. I just wanted to say though that I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
Seeing like, I knew you had worked on this, but I hadn't quite dug into it, and like seeing all that you can get. I'm super curious if the community comes up with anything as well, right? Like once people start forking these. And actually, before we get into GitHub, maybe we can do a little plug for our contest because it is almost over, right?
Yeah.
What's the contest, Ian?
So it's observable fork to win, or for the win, But basically, if you fork any of our boilerplate or integration templates and make something, out of it, and then tweet us with the hashtag ObservableFTW, then we will, I guess it's by the end of this weekend, we'll take those, and there's some prizes, right? The charty, what is it? Charty party.
There's a chart-based game and observable swag.
Nice. Yeah. And on Tuesday's stream, we'll be taking a look at a few, select entries and go over them. So that should be fun as well. So
Are employees eligible?
Unfortunately, we're not, because otherwise I would do something right now. Because I want to play Charty Party.
Yeah, I already bought it. It was too good to pass up. I just love a good, I don't know. It's the kind of games that I like. They're like simple to learn, but they're really fun and good for family stuff. And so I bought both the original one and the like family friendly ones. Yeah.
It's like an apples to apples Cards Against Humanity type
I think
thing,
so.
sort of.
Yeah, it's like it was. I couldn't resist. All right, should I hand it off to your screen, Ian?
Yeah, you can send it over to my screen.
Here we go.
So yeah, I mean, we have done a good amount of stuff with the GitHub API, which has been really interesting. I mean, GitHub has a really solid design for their API, and obviously a lot of people use GitHub and use it to manage their code and deployments. So we've done a few of these templates, like the pull request visualizer or integration test duration and flakiness, which are more like what Toph mentioned earlier, where like if you authenticate against the GitHub API, you get sort of like a full service dashboard that like tells you all about, something like this is pull requests, and if they're, how long they've been outstanding, and people's reviewer workload, that kind of stuff, right? Like it's built for a specific purpose. But if you have an idea for using the GitHub API for your workflow, and you just want to start playing with it, we do have this API Starter. And let's see. Well, I'll just go ahead and fork to get started, because it certainly can't hurt. Take this fork.
Nice.
Oh, I guess I don't have a GitHub access token in the demo team. However, let's see.
GitHub has pretty forgiving rate limits, where you can actually do a fair amount without even setting a token. But while you're talking, I'll add that to the team.
Great.
And I'll also, this is a good moment to also just share that we have like a tutorial video on one of the GitHub templates, and in it walks through how to set that up. So I'm going to share that right now as well.
Love it.
Sorry. Well, Max is got a little cold, so he had to stay home from school today, and he's unfortunately not yet into GitHub API development as much as I try to influence him.
Okay, I just added an access token, so if you refresh.
Okay. Yes, secret found.
Nice.
All right.
If you look at the rate limit now, scroll down to the bottom. Yeah, 4,000. Now we're feeling flush.
I'm rolling in rate limit. Yeah.
And we're going to use every one of those requests today.
It resets in an hour. Yeah, I mean, by the time this stream is up, let's use all these requests.
Okay, generator, while true, no delay.
Yeah.
You could just write a recursive query.
Well, I could make the delay such that it should run out by the end of this. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right, what's in this template, right? So we've set a repository. We're looking at observable plot. and we're fetching from the repos issues API. So here we've got 50 issues open, and they have a bunch of metadata. Like, that's the nice thing about GitHub. There's a lot of very, clear structure. And then in the template, it's already set up to have a table, which, we could like organize by the number of comments, let's say. So this is a big issue. If I open that, it's not opening the tab. We can see the issue and the discussion going on there, which is nice. So let me sort that again. If I wanted to, let's say plot something of this, or if I wanted to switch to a different API, those would both be easy things to do. Now, let's see. What do you think would be fun? We could, we have a time, we have comments.
So should we try a different repo to mix it up?
Sure.
If anyone watching has a public repo that they want some requests for.
We'll live code the analysis of any public repo right now. Bring it.
And there's I just looked at the github.com/trending, and it seems like Sheet.js is number 2 trending repo right now, which is a nice like Excel parsing. So that's just Sheet.js/Sheet.js. Here
easy enough.
I'm in here too.
Nice. Is it everyone on the team? Oh, because you're logged in at the same person.
I am.
The same demo user. All right. So if I change to that, we get 50 of these. Oh, these are longer. Not quite as much discussion.
Rounding. Trying to merge multiple sheets. It's a sort of funny way to look at a new repo, is like issues first.
Yeah. Oh, and it has the text. Nice.
So let's see. How could I make a little? Who are the main people filing issues on the Sheet.js repo?
Yeah, let's do that.
Who are the most helpful / most pestering?
Most committed users, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do that real quick. So I was going to make a horizontal bar chart out of the issues, which then I'm going to group by the, let's see, so that I need an output and an input. So for the input, I'm going to put user. Maxwell,
we had a comment about how this is helpful for projects. Looking at issues and how fast they're fixed is a good way to review one.
Oh, the user is not just the user; it's user.login.
User.login. Okay. Yeah, as we've started doing started doing more of these, I'm like, now I want to, in the sort of like we always have a sort of project planning notebook for each new project we work on, and now I'm like, we can just like pull in the project board, we can pull in the like latest commits and activity. So the sort of wiki style notebook documenting the project and meeting notes and whatever can actually have live info.
Do you remember how to use group sort?
Oh yeah.
I'll do this.
Let's see if we.
So this is how I often do it.
I think it's
so what I'm doing is just like ordering
yeah.
The most issues, right? So like you can override the domain of the y-axis. Now be sorted.
Nice.
Right. So nobody in the last 50
one
years,
person is really doing too much. They've got two.
That's actually sort of interesting. I feel like that's like different repos will have different characteristics. I wonder if we do like the observable runtime, it's all Dependabot. It's crushing the issue filing.
What about going back to plot?
Yeah.
And is this a good time to also mention the API Explorer, GitHub API Explorer?
Yeah, I think that like this is cool because right, like we make one viz and then you can just switch between repos. If you had this set up with your private like internal repos, then you could do that, right? Like you could look at your different things really easily. But then if you want to do something besides issues where you haven't used the GitHub API a lot, we have this very nice GitHub API Explorer, which Toph made.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about this, Toph?
Yeah, so we've made a bunch of templates. We've been working on these for several months, and most of them are, we're looking for some hook, like what would be a cool, interesting thing to do with this data or API or whatever. Or other ones are these like starters. It's just like what are some sort of primitives of notebooks, some like a taxonomy of starting points and boilerplates and all that stuff. And this started from a sort of different, it was just like, what if I am like even more unopinionated about what it's like, I don't know what you want to do with the GitHub API. What if we just like put all of it in? And because as I was trying different methods, I was like, I don't even have a handle on what is possible here. So this is a sort of like maximalist paradigm as opposed to the starters, where as soon as you like fork it, authenticate it to get that nice rate limit, you don't have to authenticate, but you're going to want to, if you want to explore much, you're going to want more than 60 requests an hour. And then you put in a username and repo at the top, and then every route for a sort of representative sample of a ton of different categories of endpoints for the API. All of them are customized to be about that user or repo that you put in at the top. So you just put in the repo once, and then you get like the issues for the repo, the pull requests for the issue, the commits for the repo, the forks of the repo. But yeah, there's a when issues were open and closed. That's just demonstrating a basic chart you can make with issues. And in making it, I don't know, I feel like I learned a lot about, you got to scroll down to the meta part too. That's a good, yeah. They have these text endpoints for getting ASCII art with little Zen quotes. And I learned a lot about what's possible, and it was like, it becomes like interactive docs that are personalized to a repo you know and love. And as soon as the data is like, when you're looking at, no matter how good the API docs are, if you're looking at the sample data and it's like an abstract, like sample customer 1 or whatever, it's like, I don't know, this doesn't mean anything to me, and it's hard to make sense of it. But when the sample data for every endpoint is your bread and butter, stuff of your daily work, I feel like I'm a lot faster to understand what's happening.
Nice.
So this is good. And I started with, to make this, I started with the GitHub API Starter. As we do more of these GitHub templates, we've been I just find myself, I use the starter template.
Nice. And then we have a couple other API starters we wanted to talk through today, right? So I think now's a good time to switch over to the AWS starters we have. Who wants to get into that?
Yeah.
Ian knows that best.
I can.
Ian's been deep in the.
Yeah, I worked on those. Although I had plenty of help. But yeah, so we started. AWS, Amazon Web Services, huge cloud provider. Many people use it, and many people have opinions on the interface to, well, pretty much any cloud provider probably, but they have a ton of services, a ton of stuff that they've tried to design to help you use it. But I've worked in this space in the past, and like a lot of times people end up building their own interfaces to their services, right? Like you tailor it to your needs. And one of the templates we did, which isn't an integration, but I just want to show real quick. This is more the, like, you get a dashboard if you put your credentials in, is this idea of like monitoring your HTTP status. And so I won't get into this. We've talked about this in the past streams. So if you go on our YouTube, you can look at our developer operations and see that. But it does use the AWS API with the secret and access key that you can get from there. And so the starters that we have for that, if you were so inclined, would be something like...
Those are some nice thumbnails.
They are some nice thumbnails, yeah. Shout out to Ramona, our colleague designer. She hooked those up. So this template is basically just helping you get access to your EC2, which is your like virtual machines, the computers that you're renting from Amazon. And so if I fork this, it should, I've already put the access keys to actually my personal AWS, which is mostly hobbyist. A lot of these things don't run anymore. But there is a list, of instances. I do have a test instance that's running.
Does each of these names conjure up some memories of experiments past?
Yeah,
long gone, collaborators you miss?
Yeah, actually, like, well, it was 10 years ago, EJ and I made Tributary, which was like an in-browser code editor for D3. So fancy being here at Observable.
Wait, was that what Block Builder was based on?
Yeah, it was sort of the, I watched a Brett Victor talk with EJ and that Inventing on Principle. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should have something where you could do that. It was, I was very new to software engineering and it was a mess, but it kind of worked, and it used, I think I used GitHub just back then, but then Block Builder was sort of a second attempt following Mike's blocks. Yeah, so we get this list of instances and the things you can, I'm talking about data that you can have about, you can see how much information there is, right? Like how one...
Just visualize the keys of this object.
Yeah, we could do that, right? And so you can imagine that if you're designing an interface into this, right, you couldn't possibly make everyone happy, but you can make yourself happy. If you know what you care about, you could focus down that information. So like, I don't know, like this public DNS name, like, I'm not even gonna try to visualize Let me just copy paste this table. Okay, can you reconnect your buddy? Okay. Can the iPad talking?
What's up, Mac?
If I he's very demanding about his YouTube cartoon content.
I used EC2 for a while for some old work projects, but I just had it on my personal credit card, and then my personal credit card expired, and I forgot to update it, and so my old projects broke.
Okay.
If only I had had better visibility into the... only I had remembered those machines were running.
Hey.
Let's see, we've got reservations. I really enjoy these because, like, I feel like even just seeing like the keys available on an instance, you know, the properties of an instance already begins to illuminate what EC2 is offering. So what state transition reason? Ooh. Oh, that's sort of cool. I didn't know.
I only have one running, but this is the test one that actually drives the data for the other template.
Oh, nice.
What I was testing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't really want to build a instance management user interface in the next, 14 minutes that we have left.
Well, let's look at S3.
Yeah, so let's do that. Like this, it's possible if you do have EC2 instances running. This would be a great way to get started.
I wonder, yeah.
The S3 instant or S3 starter. S3 is the simple storage solution, something like that, right? It's you can host files on the internet, and people use it for all kinds of stuff. So the demo here uses
it's like Dropbox.
Another old project of mine, where it's a bunch of MP3 files and data on Chinese characters, actually.
Can you play a couple of these for us?
Will it work? Did you hear that?
Yeah, crank up the volume a little. I did hear it though.
So this is pronunciation for various Chinese characters. I think this was, what is it? Data set about if you want, like, Chinese characters have, a romanization and like there's a limited set that you could have. And then if you clicked on one of these, you could. Jiu. That's alcohol in Chinese. Could be useful, or wine, I guess. Awesome. So all of this is backed by S3, like the dictionary, the sound files, all that good stuff. And let me turn this down so you don't. But again, we would, if I can fork this, and we're working on it. Yeah. So the fun part about this, this being a starter template, is that we did figure out that in order to use the S3 API, you have to have course permissions set on your bucket. And so we sort of prepare that here. So like if you click on this link, it would take you into the AWS console where you can set that setting. You could copy paste this in as is, or by default it sort of limits the course to like your username or your team's username for security. And then from there, we can make various calls. Like this is just listing all the objects in the bucket. But you could do things like upload stuff to the bucket, download the contents of a file. So if you're building some kind of internal tool where you're generating data in a notebook, you could then have like a save button that would upload to your bucket and save that way. So yeah, that's the main idea there.
That's very cool. And I can personally attest to the value of this because I was trying to I was trying to just list the contents of a bucket before we had this template, or before it was finished anyway. And I like had all the API docs open and had read a lot of documentation, and I was so stumped on the cores part. And then I paired with Ian, and Ian had like already read up on that. You know, he had the benefit of the it was like, I guess this is institutional wisdom. Like he had already encountered that, so he was able to like fix it very fast. And you know, some of these templates are, you know, they can be very short, but just pointing to the minimal sequence of things you have to do to begin to see real data has, I would say, diminished my fear. Like it makes me more willing to consider getting started on more things, where previously I was just overwhelmed by like, there are like so many versions of the SDK and I don't know which version I'm on, and I don't know, you know, you're just like fumbling in the dark and you don't know if you're like right around the corner from the destination or if you have like a whole maze ahead of you. It's sort of like that phenomenon where I think in math, like when a theorem is proven by one person, suddenly a bunch of other people prove it independently. And it sort of seems like just knowing something is possible gets other people to do it faster too. I don't know if that's persistence or information about it. The icebreaker, totally.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of other, I mean, so we went in detail in like Stripe and Figma and GitHub and AWS, but let's see, there's at least a couple others we didn't talk about yet today, right?
Yeah, and
yeah.
Oh, wait, you want to
just mention them?
Yeah, I feel like we don't have much time left, right? But like these two are pretty cool, and hopefully we can do a follow-up where we'll get into these in more detail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might as well bring it up and just.
Wait, so yeah,
and we have more on the way too.
Yeah, we have so many drafts. Actually, we would appreciate any feedback in which would be most valuable to see first, because we have too long a list of ones we want to do. But that is Brett Cooper, Hello Earth This, was just commenting. Mm-hmm. So that's a good segue, because Brett actually put up so we have this, one of these is like a CSV starter, or a Google Sheets. Yeah, pull up the Google Sheets one. And if you expand the comment on the first cell, Brett left a very helpful comment on this the other day. I was on vacation last week, so I haven't addressed this yet, but I've been meaning to, where he was like, it's actually even easier to load stuff from Google Sheets than was apparent from the template that I had written. And I feel like this is like, it's like sometimes the template that we put, it's like we have certain privileges of being able to position notebooks in prominent places where everyone in the community will see them. That doesn't necessarily mean that our implementation is the best, or that everything that we do is the best. And so, but it does mean that it attracts very helpful feedback. It's like a prominent honeypot, or like a shelling point for feedback. And so Brett saw this, and there's a helpful, it's like you can construct the URL for the CSV just from knowing the URL of the spreadsheet. So you don't need to go through this flow in Google Sheets of publish to web, whatever. I was like, this, like, now that Brett comments on this, is this what institutional wisdom is? That will then, as soon as I, in the next couple of days, get around to merging it in, that'll be incorporated in the starter template. So now everyone in the future will benefit from the wisdom of Brett. And then someone else will see that it could be even easier or even better. And you know, these aren't necessarily going to start out as like always the best possible implementation, but they've improved, like, as we get them out there, they improve so much. as they get, as people try to use them and try to use them differently and run into some unforeseen problem. And it's like all this wisdom has been out there in the community. It's just been sometimes scattered and hard to find for someone who doesn't know what they're looking for or where to start.
Yeah, and this is a good reminder that if people see something in a notebook, you can just add a comment to it and suggest something or ask a question.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think is there any last thing y'all want to say before we wrap up? Have some.
If anyone has any questions.
Well, so I'll do some final announcements, and then if people have questions, feel free to post them while I'm doing that. So I'll just once again plug the Observable Community Survey. We closing that today at 3 Pacific. So if you haven't yet, fill that out. Once again, there is the Fork to Win contest. It is closing on the 8th, what is that, Sunday? And so you can start by forking any of the integrations that we showed today, or boilerplates or template starter notebooks, create something and then tweet it with that hash. And if you want to be kept in the loop of upcoming events, you can join the meetup page. Actually, the 3 of us will be here again next week on Tuesday for some data visualization starting points. And I can toss those links in the chat again.
So really, when we stop today, it'll just be a kind of intermission. It's a weekend-long intermission until part 2 on Tuesday.
Maybe we could plug the forum real quick, because that's a great place for people to also leave bring up ideas, and the team looks at that quite often. So if you have ideas for templates or APIs that you'd love to see integrations for, it's a great place to do that. And then, as Molly said, leaving comments on these notebooks is very much appreciated. Yeah.
I want to do a Firebase one for Tom Larkworthy. We internally use Datadog and PagerDuty. I want to do a Slack one. I want to do a Twitter one. I want to do a Slack one for, I had some, I don't know, for seeing which channels have been active lately or something.
Yeah, I want to do a YouTube and Sentry. Sentry's a good one.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let us know. Thanks for joining, everyone.
See you Tuesday.
And thanks, Ian and Toph, for your walkthroughs and wisdom.
Thank you, Molly, for moderating, hosting, introing, outroing.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. My pleasure. All right, until next week.
Yeah.
See you Tuesday.
See ya.
Bye.